In Texas, it's day 2 of testimony in the Carmelo Anthony case. Anthony is charged with first-degree murder for the fatal stabbing of another student during a track meet last year. Several students taking the stand today describing the incident in question. In Wisconsin, the state is winding down its case in chief. Defendant Zachariah Roche could spend the rest of his life behind bars in prison if convicted of fatally shooting his estranged wife, then burning her remains. And a jury has been selected in Florida, where George Pino is on trial for manslaughter. Pino was charged in the death of 17-year-old Lucy Fernandez after a boat crash back in 2022. All that and more right here on Court TV Live. And welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson, filling in today for Cody Thomas. Busy Friday. Thanks for being with us. All right, we start this hour in Wisconsin, where a divorce and a fight over custody of the children is at the center of this homicide trial. Zachariah Roche stands accused of killing his wife, Crystal, whose remains were later found in a burn pit on their property. The defense argues, however, that Crystal was depressed over a custody battle and shot and killed herself. The state is expected to rest their case in chief on Monday. And currently on the stand is a detective who interviewed this defendant. Let's watch.
I wanted to touch upon that forgot about yesterday. So one item, did you review Dodge County Sheriff's application submission that came in the early morning hours of June 25th, 2024 regarding, purportedly from Crystal Roche?
Yes, I did.
And what was one of the things that stood out to you in that Dodge County app submission?
The location that was provided on Dewdrop Trail in Walker, Minnesota, I believe it was. My question was whether or not on the app, on the program that was used, if that was something that was a GPS location where the sender was actually identified through GPS on their device, or if it was a location that just could be entered by anybody. You could say wherever you were. So I did some follow-up work to determine that that location really had no merit as far as where it said it was. There was no way to verify where that actual location was. Anyone could put whatever location they wanted into that submission.
And the address that was entered into the app, what was located at that address?
There was like a family safety network is what it was called, and it was like a shelter for families and abuse victims. And to do my due diligence, I contacted that facility and tried to request some information if perhaps Crystal was located there. As typical in those type of facilities, they're not able to give direct information on somebody's whereabouts. However, I encourage them to reach back out, just as we had earlier with our local shelters, and we heard nothing back on that front. So I further reached out to that county, I believe it was Cass County, Minnesota, and I spoke with their sheriff's office. And I asked if there was any contacts whatsoever with any law enforcement agencies, with anybody by the name of Crystal Roche, and provided her information, also verifying there was no contact made of any sort in that area.
And did you note too in the, you talked about that video, both the body cam and the squad cam video with Deputy Kukan, initially what Zachariah Roche, one of the locations that he said that Crystal had gone before, did he mention a local domestic violence shelter?
Yes, he did.
And what shelter was that?
PAVE.
Did you also do any neighborhood canvassing here in Kleiman?
Yes. So myself and my partner, Detective Rolfs, along with other investigators, and we had other assigned staff, deputies and such. Did do a canvass in the area to see if anybody had any contact with her and tried to determine when she was seen last at her house. And the consensus with everyone we spoke with was consistent with being about 2 weeks prior, around that June 7th time frame when she was last seen in the area. We also had people assigned to check with all area hospitals. As sometimes can occur with missing persons investigation, somebody's not heard of from a while, their mail's piling up, and we are later able to determine that they're having a procedure or something done and they're just not home and available. So that's one of our first checks that is performed, and again we did so in this case, and we're able to locate no information of her being treated anywhere.
And did you also confirm that there were no reported traffic accidents or anything like that involving anyone matching Crystal Roche's description?
Correct. Yep. As standard checks with other local law enforcement agencies and even medical examiner's offices to determine if there may have been a death somewhere outside of Dodge County with a related individual. And again, there was not in this case.
Okay. Now returning back to the interview with Zachariah Roche. We left off yesterday at 1811. I'm just going to back it up a few seconds to 1808, and we'll start playing it from that same spot, from 1808, so a few seconds before we stopped yesterday. Go ahead. From clip number 5.
I have no idea.
Again, I think you're an intelligent enough guy. We've had a long conversation.
I'm serious, I don't know where that vehicle is anymore.
What happened to it?
I got repoed. I wasn't making payments.
Okay. When?
Not that long ago.
When?
Like yesterday, I think it was.
Okay. You have any connection to that area?
No. I don't know anybody in Columbus.
That's
Or in Columbia.
Columbia.
No.
Okay, how about around the Dells?
No.
Any family out that way?
No.
Okay. Outside of being in Wisconsin Dells, the city, ever cruise around the countryside or anything like that out there?
No.
Okay. So that vehicle, if it was processed, wouldn't show up anywhere in that area?
No.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge about where it would show up?
I have no idea.
What vehicle you been driving around here?
My Cobalt.
The Cobalt.
Chevy.
Okay. And you talked about that being your ride back and forth to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now, if you understand the gravity of this. Okay,
This isn't all of it.
This is just
This is a sample.
snapshots. I don't want to sit here with folders and folders of information. All of this. All of these places have cameras. All of the highways have cameras. Your car is a mobile computer. Your phone is a mobile computer. Okay?
Crystal's phone. is a mobile computer.
Again, I've been through tough times in my life. I can see you as a man who's been through a lot. I understand every man has a point. I could tip them one way or the other in their life. I'm asking the truth on what you know.
I don't know anything. I'm serious. I do not know where she is.
What happened to her?
I don't know. I don't know where she is.
So that transaction back at Menards, where that purchase is made, .32 ounce of Santeen Drano. 6 bottles of Drano. What's going on with the Drano?
Jumping down holes.
For what?
Getting rid of animals.
Where do they know?
I don't know. A lot of holes have been popping up around my parents, and I'm just kind of trying to get rid of them.
Okay. Is that what brought you to do that?
Well, I don't know. I just thought I would get rid of them.
Is this something you've ever done before?
No. I've done motor oil and stuff like that and gasoline. Dumped down there.
Okay. Which I'd imagine working on cars you have a fair amount of, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A Drano. That doesn't make sense to me.
So I'd get rid of them faster.
What made you think that?
I just figure it'd help faster get rid of the chipmunks and stuff.
Okay. And how did you learn that, Zach?
Like reading about it
And where'd you read about it?
online.
Recently?
No, it was a while ago.
Okay. Again.
Just like I read about dumping beer outside for mosquitoes too.
Okay. That seems like a horrible waste.
I've done a lot of weird stuff.
You see how these things from our end. So how is this purchase made in Beaver Dam with Crystal's bank information? And you're making the purchase. I'm trying to find the facts here. How does that happen, Zach?
She's got 2 cards.
Okay. What can you tell me about it?
I have one and she has one.
Why didn't you tell me this earlier?
I don't know.
I asked you very specifically if you had an account, if she had an account, if you ever used her account, if she ever used your account. And you said no. You told me that she bought some stuff with cash, large amount, in the Dells.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never told me about a bank account.
Sure, it was discussed about her bank account.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I thought we talked about her bank account.
Not the access to it. You told me you did not. That she had hers, you had yours, you didn't have joint. You talked about it, she didn't want to do that.
It's not joint, but I have a card.
Again, why didn't you tell me about that?
I should have.
Do you have that card on you?
No.
Did you have it on you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you're making these purchases in all these locations, and you're heading in one direction, you're coming back down, why is that?
What?
What were you doing?
I wasn't doing anything.
What? Okay, you told me before your grandpa and your grandma, your relationship with them, right?
Yeah.
Talk about hanging on their porch with your uncle.
Yeah.
And your other side in Osage Beach.
Yeah.
You ever been up anywhere with them around the Dells?
No.
You ever been to Adams County?
Yeah.
When?
It's been a while.
What's a while?
With her.
Okay.
Let's bring in Silva Megadichian for your thoughts on this case. I mean, we have an instance where this defendant is charged with several things, including fraud, murder, also disposing of a body, lying to investigators. It's like this long, right? But he admits to a lot of it. He just says that he didn't commit the murder. So how does that help or hurt him in this case?
Oh, Matt, when you take this case cumulatively, it really doesn't help him. I mean, again, the defense is going to argue, look how open he was to admitting everything. But the fact of the matter is, Mr. Roche knows that if he admits to the worst thing, he's going to be life in prison, right? And without parole. And the Google search is yet another case where you see what he searches, and it's practically a blueprint of murder. So it's really hard, I think. The defense has such a steep hill to climb here to show that she did kill herself, and all he did was dispose of the body with that Google searching that came out the other day. So I don't know, Matt. This is one of those where, look how he's talking to the police also. It's like, I hate to say this as a defense attorney because I'm such a defense attorney by nature, but it's hard not to go, the guy did it, right? I mean, watching it, I hate saying it because I want to hear the defense's case. I don't see a suicide. I think the prosecution so far has shown she wasn't going through depression. She was a victim of consistent domestic abuse, allegedly, right? That he had these horrific Google searches and he does not know how to be interviewed by police. And oh my gosh, where's his attorney during the interrogation? Ugh.
I
anyway,
know.
Matt, I just think this is such a bad case.
These defendants never learn, right? They don't watch court TV.
Never.
Just do not talk. Just don't talk.
And if you're going to talk, get your attorney like Karen Reed did. Have your attorney next to you.
As simple as that. Now, when it comes to the domestic violence that's alleged, there has been court filings of alleged abuse in 2015, 2018, and 2023. Do they come in before this jury?
Yes, I do think so. I mean, look, here's the issue. The defense is going to argue, of course, they should be excluded because they're prejudicial. They are big time prejudicial. But again, showing his motive of, I just disposed of the body, again, Matt, does it really need to come in? Because the jury already heard that she was a victim of DV. And I don't even think the prosecution needs it. Because we also know as trial attorneys, if there is that type of development that comes out in trial, the jury doesn't need to hear the specifics. They know that this poor woman is not only the victim of an untimely death, but was also a victim, allegedly, of cruelty. And juries and humans, it's just ridiculous. We don't like that. It just seems like such an open and shut case at this point, which shows you prosecution's doing their job.
Yeah, violence, dignity also is an issue in all of this, with not having a proper burial for her children. She was just 37 years young. 5 kids without a mom and a dad in this situation. It is just tragic all the way around. Silva, we do have to take a break. Thank you for that discussion. Coming up, Cody Thomas has a live report out of Texas from the courthouse steps there in the trial of Carmelo Anthony, including key testimony from the students who say that they were eyewitnesses. This is Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.